Welcome back. I am John P. Today we are going to be talking about the upcoming Tudor watch release. Now, before I jump into this video, I do want to say that this watch has actually not been released yet, but based on what Tudor has done in the past, as well as a couple of key and critical elements about the products or the watches that they have not been selling, I think we can come to a pretty good estimate or a guesstimate of what the release either will be or should be. And I'll also give a little bit of a backstory about not only why I think this is, but also just a slight bit of historical significance and why Tudor needs to come out with this watch. If they don't, then maybe I will. But the watch is supposed to be coming out in July, so July 8th, in a few days after the shooting of this video. So once again, it's not released, but it will be soon, and it may not actually be this particular watch pictured in this video. Before we jump into the rest of the video, guys, please do not forget to check out my Instagram, TheRealJohnP, as well as DelReyWatch.com. And on the wrist today, I have an Omega Seamaster Aquaterra Good Planet 38.5. You can see more about this on my Instagram, The Real John P. So what's going on with Tudor? Well, Tudor is also no longer following kind of the historical watch release schedule, and Tudor is going to be unveiling a new watch for their watch catalog on July 8th, 2022. So in a few days from the shooting of this video. And on Tudor's Instagram and other social media, they've been kind of teasing a couple of things. One, they've been teasing kind of the Tudor's tie to a Greenland expedition that was funded in the early 1950s by the Queen of England in an effort to kind of gain more scientific understanding about what goes on in this part of the world. And this happened for a few years. Now, when this expedition was happening, of course, Tudor gave some watches for this particular occurrence. And this is something that happened pretty frequently decades ago with watch companies. They still kind of do this today, right? We see certain brands that partner with celebrities and sports figures and different events, right? Like Zenith did this when there was the person that jumped from a balloon from sort of outer space back down to the world. So this has kind of been a common thing, but it kind of started in this period, in the 1950s and thereabout. Rolex did this with, the Everest expedition to a certain degree at least, and Tudor did this with this Greenland expedition, and there's a lot of literature that you can find online to give you more kind of the historical significance about that expedition. I'll put a link in the description below to some resources if you are kind of looking for that history lesson, kind of a scratch for the itch. But that's where Tudor is kind of going with this release. It's on their Instagram, it's on their Facebook, and in the days leading up to that announcement, they've also kind of been pushing the 1926 line. Now, the Tudor 1926 line is a watch that I've been saying for a few years now is a great value, but a line that I have been holding Tudor to update. It's a little bit, dare I say, outdated. The Tudor 1960, the Tudor 1926 line is just a little bit outdated with the styling. They needed to do something with it, and also you just don't see them floating around because of DelReyWatch.com, where we buy, sell, and trade watches. We see what people are collecting, trading, buying, and these just don't float around. And they have so many different colorways and combinations: stainless steel, gold, black dial, white dial. People just generally don't buy them. Otherwise, we'd be seeing them through the doors. Now, maybe some casual wearers buy them, but it's not a hot line, and most people don't even realize that it exists. It's entirely off the radar because they're focused on the Black Bay collection. People like sport watches. So, what do I think Tudor is going to do based on all of this information, as well as what I think they need to do to start selling these watches? Keep in mind, Tudor and Rolex, they like to reuse parts. They like to use reuse cases. They like to use assembly line and robotics and manufacturing techniques that they use in all their other watches, because at economies of scale, they can cut costs. And at the end of the day, they are businesses. And Tudor, they like to shoot out watches. You can see it with all the variations of the Black Bay and the way they reuse pieces. So what I think they're going to do, let's put the picture here. I think Tudor is going to take the 1926 line, which they've been trying to push in social, and I think they're going to adopt it to be a watch that actually was found in someone's drawer in a house somewhere. There'll be a link in the description below to an article where you can read about it, but this is a watch that actually was on the expedition. So Tudor had a watch that looked just like what we see here with the blue seconds hand, with the markers, a little bit of lume. Of course, the Tudor logo was different back then. They used the rose. I don't think we'll see Tudor bring back the rose like they did with some of the earliest Black Bays. That'd be cool if they did that, but I think they'll probably stay true to their current trademark there with the shield. But we can see actually what happens. And they have so many of these for sure 1926 cases lying around that they can either repurpose for this watch or, I mean, that's just what they're going to do. Repurpose it for this watch or a variation of this watch, because what else are they going to do with these cases? Melt them down and use them for Black Bays? Maybe, but why if they don't have to? And so this is kind of what I think Tudor is going to do. I wanted to make this video, short little release here to show my opinion where I think they're going to go with this, and also just as kind of an exercise to see if the watch industry, including Tudor, truly has become predictable with their releases. What do you guys think about this? I would love to see it and hear it in the comments below. And who knows, if Tudor doesn't release this, maybe I will. Maybe we'll fund this or do a Kickstarter campaign, because I'm looking at this picture here on my laptop. I think this looks like a pretty nice and cool watch. What do you guys think? Comments below. Love to see it and hear it. We'll see you next time. You've been chatting with John P.